Well, I guess this is farewell, huh? Light and shadow can't mix, as we all know. Does not make for good pancakes, that's for sure. But never forget that there's another world bound to this one. Shadow and light are two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other. I know now the reason the goddesses left the Mirror of Twilight in this world. They left it because it was their design that we should meet. Yes, that is what I believe. Zelda, your words are kind and your heart is true. If all in Hyrule are like you, then maybe you'll do alright. Thank you. Well, the princess spoke truly. As long as that mirror is around, we could meet again. Link. Aye. See you later. Oh. Well, alright then. To be fair, the last time that us humans used the mirror, it caused this entire mess. Do not blame her for that. But there we go. End of that journey right there. So this also will transition neatly into our quick change questions here. So, to first start off, why did I choose to play this game? Interesting story with this one. I was actually planning to play another game that I had on my list, but there was something wrong video-wise where it was recording the sound just fine, but the video wasn't showing up. Eventually, I figured out what driver was causing the problem and got it fixed, but I needed another project in the meantime, and I thought, why not do Twilight Princess, specifically the GameCube version? And it just kind of went from there. So that's... And to be fair, like, it's nice to be playing a Zelda game again, after having played Ocarina of Time. Which leads to the next question. How does this compare to Ocarina of Time? I think this is it's a longer adventure, to be sure. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It adds a lot more content. It allows you to think a little bit more. But I still prefer Ocarina of Time over Twilight Princess. In fact, I would actually say that Twilight Princess isn't actually one of my favorite games in the Zelda universe. And so, you might be asking yourself, what do you like or dislike about Twilight Princess? There's a lot to like about in this game as far as you have the dungeon layouts where it feels more like you have the first room, or at least one of the very early rooms you go into is like the hub of the dungeon. You'll be going back and forth through that room. You kind of saw this in like Ocarina of Time where like in Dodongo's Cavern, you had the big central room that had branches off, and you would go off one way to go explore all around the dungeon, go back over the top kind of thing. But this was really well designed in the fact that you would go achieve an objective on one side, and then make your way. It would basically force you to go back to the hub room And it's nice in that regard, in the sense that you could save and quit and not lose a lot of progress as far as you have to backtrack all the way back, because there isn't a single Zelda game that saves exactly where you saved it. Like, Breath of the Wild finally comes close to it, but it doesn't do the same as it does in Dungeons. So, it's nice that they incorporated sort of a natural room in which once you made it back, you could be like, okay, I could save here and then go where I need to go afterwards after that. So, kind of cool. It was some clever thinking on their part. I liked as well your partner, Midna, here in this game. I think they did a very good job of sort of, at first, like, she feels kind of like a regular Navi partner, but then once her plans to stop Sant failed, then you notice that she has a lot more character. There's more, like, she has more purpose and rhyme to her being with you, and so it's really cool that they gave her this character rather than just being somebody to Z-target or just as a gimmick to the whole thing. But I think one of my biggest dislikes about this game is that it feels long, meaning in the sense that you do you'll start trying to work your way to a dungeon, then find out you have to do something to get there, and then something else to accomplish that. It feels a little bit more natural during the Twilight Mirror Shards thing, where you have to go. You'll talk to people who are part of the what's her name, Telma's gang, where like you have to figure out how to get to the dungeon in the first place. But it's so repetitive throughout the whole thing that you always will do something and whatnot, and it's not a complete like strange thing to happen inside the Zelda universe that you have to do something to get to a dungeon. But that's pretty much all it was. It was just doing that. Like, there was always something you had to take care of, and sometimes it was really side questy. It wasn't like just a straightforward talk to this person and you're good to go. But that's just my personal thing about it. I think as well, like, for me, like, Ocarina of Time was the first Zelda game I played, and so it has a lot more, like, nostalgia value to it. Like, I don't think Twilight Princess is terrible, but for me it doesn't quite resonate in the same way that Ocarina of Time did, that Wind Waker did, and Breath of the Wild did. Those are, like, my top 3 Zelda games. Not necessarily in that order, but they're there. They're in those spots. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I had about this game. Oh. Who would play this game? Casually or, like, more hardcore gamer? That's kind of weird to say, because I think the GameCube version is a little more geared towards the gamer side rather than being someone who's just casually playing. Weirdly, I believe the Wii version would be better if you're introducing somebody to the Zelda series for the first time. And one of the reasons for that is that the Wii version has more item slots that you can essentially quick slot to. You are not just limited by 2 with Y and X. You've got 3 for the D-pad, and then I believe it's the B button that's the actual item usage. I believe as well, if I remember correctly, when you use the items like the bow and arrow, like, it uses the Wiimotes to point and all that, but it's way more manageable to aim than it is with the GameCube controller, because it is so hard if you're trying to just move a little bit. It's one of the worst things from the N64 and GameCube days of trying to aim. It's so difficult. But the Wii Remote allows you to do more smooth aiming and whatnot. Other than that, like, and I haven't played the Wii U version, but I would assume that they made fixes and changes and whatnot to make it a little bit easier for anybody of any skill set to play in. And I think that's about it. I'm going to be working on my next project here shortly. It's not going to be a Legend of Zelda title, spoiler alert, but I'm excited to just get working on that and get it going. But I hope you all are having a good day. Thank you for watching through the series, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone.